when is it going to be enough for people to get it in their heads that if you can't handle a child, don't have a child? For those people that murder, abuse, take advantage of innocent little children, should not be put on life sentence. They should be put to death. That's just my partake, because we are going to be looking at the mom that vacationed for 10 days after leaving her baby in a playpen for 10 days, where that infant had unfortunately passed. This makes me so angry that this baby should have been protected, loved, nourished. But yet the mother decided to go on vacation for 10 days. We're going to be taking a look at the story and the conviction of this case. I'm not doing any more than just one because this makes me so angry. But before we go any further, if you guys could do me a solid favor for all things nerdy, and also when it comes to crime and paranormal, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel by hitting the white bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you guys so very much for the love and support you guys continuously show on this channel. And with that being said, let's get into the video.
She was a happy baby, always smiling, always curious about stuff. She was wonderful. She was just a wonderful baby. We keep telling her not to leave her by herself. Not only me, my friend across the street too. But she always be here by herself.
We just couldn't believe that she was gone.
Where's the father in this? Is there another deadbeat father? I mean, I'm just assuming, I'm not stating, but for educational purposes and entertainment purposes, it just makes me so angry that these little ones are left neglected and so forth. It's like, if you do the deed, you're going to do the time. As in, if you do the deed of the snooky, you're going to be taking care of that child. That is your responsibility as a human being for the next 18 plus how many years afterwards, because once you're a parent, you're always a parent. Well, unless you're like Chris Watson, take your children out, then you're not a parent anymore. So
welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Those are the neighbors of 31-year-old Kristel Candelario. She's the Ohio mother who allegedly left her 16-month-old daughter, Jaylyn, home alone while she went on a 10-day-long vacation. And after she finally returned home, Candelario found her daughter unresponsive. Shocking, right?
No way.
Well, baby Jaylyn had died in the home where she was left, surrounded by dirty blankets soiled with urine and feces, and left inside of a pack-and-play. Police say that the poor child was severely dehydrated at the time of her death. And now Candelario, the baby's mother, is indicted by a grand jury for murder, felonious assault, and endangering the welfare of her child. And while this case is sickening, unfortunately, it's not the first time we've seen a case like this play out here on Court TV. In fact, we've seen facts and circumstances quite similar. You may remember our wonderful courties who were with us since day one. Remember the case of Cheyenne Harris back in 2019, the year we relaunched? Harris found guilty of first-degree murder and child endangerment after her 4-month-old son was found dead in his baby swing, abandoned in the back room of their apartment for 9 to 14 days with no food or water, and never changed. The child had...
What happened to taking the child to, like, well, first an orphanage, or two, don't, like, ours here in town, like, they have a, like, an opening where you can bring the baby. If you like, this is an innocent soul, and you left your child for 9 to 14 days. My kid doesn't go without food for 3 hours and I'm freaking out. Did you eat dinner? Did you eat lunch? Let's get some food for you. Like, I'm making sure, and then I'm making sure that they eat enough. Do you want seconds? No? Okay. But do you want dessert? I'm making sure my kids get enough food. And this person's like 9 to 14 days. Like, and then they get life. Do it to them. An eye for an eye. That's why people keep doing this, is because they think they're going to get
skin infected from sitting in his feces and his diaper filled with maggots. Little baby Sterling. In the case, it was determined that little baby Sterling died of malnutrition, dehydration, E. coli entered his bloodstream through his infected skin. But in the case of baby Jaylyn in Cleveland, there's no cause of death or autopsy results being released yet. So we don't know exactly what it is. But this morning, we want to bring in our own expert to talk about what that baby's cause of death might have been and talk about proving this case at trial. I'm going to bring in our expert this morning.
What is there to prove? She left her kid, went on vacation, she did wrong.
Standing by in Toledo, Ohio. He is a physician and professor, Dr. Jason Smith. Good morning to you, my friend. Wonderful to see you on this Wednesday. I hate that we have to talk about cases like this, but we do. The state of Ohio is going to have to bring in someone like yourself to talk about how this baby died. So, Dr. J, go into professor mode for us. Pretend like we're your students in the class. How do you think this happened, please?
Yeah, Julie, good morning. Good morning, Cordy's. You know, this is, again, disturbing and I would almost argue confusing. Who would think that it would be safe to leave a 16-month-old baby in a pack and play for any period of time, especially up to 10 days? You know, when we look at a case like this, we are, again, postulating how this child may have passed, sadly and tragically. And I do think that dehydration, heat illness, had to play a factor. Obviously, we will be waiting for the coroner's final report. But, you know, this is a situation where a child is essentially caged in that pack and play. She has no access to food or water. And I think very quickly, especially in a child at that age, dehydration will set in immediately. We're talking about in a day to 2 days. And this is not by any way, shape, or form a comfortable way to live or, unfortunately, how Jaylyn passed.
Certainly not, Dr. J. I have a really unpleasant question to ask you, but it's a critical question. In your opinion, did baby Jaylyn suffer before she died?
She tragically suffered, and she suffered quite a bit. I mean, this will be a child that was undoubtedly crying, sitting in her own urine, her own feces, and she did not cry short periods of time. She cried until she could not cry anymore. And it is heartbreaking to think of this and this tragic way that a child should die, because...
And I'm not blaming the neighbors. I'm not blaming them in any way, but could you not hear an infant crying? I'm just saying. Again, it's not their fault because of this. I'm just... This baby, this little girl probably cried her eyes out for hours, if not days, probably lost her voice.
Because it should never happen.
Dr. J, when we think about this period of time, 10 days, you have to wonder how soon into that 10-day period might that horrible suffering have ended. If you had to put forth your best educated guess on that, what would it be and why, please?
Yeah, I'm not going to play corner in this situation because I really don't know, but I would venture to guess it would have been sooner than later. This 16-month-old cannot sustain without water, without nutrition for a very long period of time.
Oh, it is so heartbreaking. Dr. J, stand by. I want to also bring in our other guest we have on the show this morning, criminal defense attorney Greg Isaacs, standing by in Knoxville, Tennessee, where he practices. Certainly no stranger to high-profile criminal cases. We watched Greg in action on Court TV. Greg, talk to me, please, about what the state is coming with against Kristel Candelario. Here, you know, you can't think there was any other intention than to kill a baby, right? If you walk away for 10 days, it's not like 10 minutes. How do you see this case playing out for her? We know she's going to be in court this morning, 9 a.m. for one of her pretrial hearings. How do you think this is going to go, please?
Well, it's going to go poorly, and if you're the defense lawyer in a case like this, you know, you are going...
How could there be a defense? How could you sit there and defend this woman knowing that she did this to her daughter?
To scratch your head in terms of what can I do to zealously represent somebody that presents as depraved, as a mommy / monster. You see cases where someone leaves a child unattended for a short period of time in a car overnight. But it is very rare to see someone abandon a child for a period of time and return. It's almost a slow torture. It is premeditated. It is planned. So if I'm the defense lawyer, I'm going to try to confront the medicine with the mens rea, with experts that can put this behavior in some sort of context. Was there a mental disease or defect? But Julie, the problem is to find someone that could say she had a substantial mental disease or defect that prohibited her from controlling her conduct and her actions. When you juxtapose the fact she was on vacation.
That's why I honestly think that before you have a child, you probably need to go through like a screening or something. Like people driving nowadays, or I mean, it's getting ridiculous where people are having kids and they don't take care of them. What do you think was going to happen? If you bring life into this world, you better take care of that child. It pisses me off that these kids, it's not the child's fault. They're without food, they're without water, but their parents are dipping it up, chewing and doing the D word and drinking alcohol. Take care of your child. And then your child, you're never supposed to bury your child. But this woman made it very clear that she didn't give a crap about her child.
For 10 days. So I think this is one where you really have a hard time coming up with a defense because the medicine is against you, the facts, the sympathy are against you. So a very, very tough hurdle for the defense.
Certainly, Greg. When we think about how this child had to suffer and endure such a tremendous amount of pain. Dr. J, I want to go back to you and pick your brain on something, please. When I was thinking about this case and how awful it is when we all know babies are helpless, they rely on adults to care for them, and this child had no one to turn to because mom abandoned her, according to police in Cuyahoga County. Would an adult last longer in a situation with no food and water than a baby, Dr. J?
Yeah, absolutely, Julie. I mean, we know adults can last for a week to 10 days without hydration, without water. And it's just the amount of water content we have in our body. Dehydration comes and you can be more malnourished than dehydrated, meaning that you can go longer without food than you can go without water. And in any situation, this is just not a tenable situation for life.
No. Thank you, Dr. J. Greg Isaacs, let me go back to you on something. You've been involved in capital cases. I see this one having potential to become one in Ohio. Ohio is still currently a death penalty state. If you were tasked with representing Kristel Candelario, would you be concerned that that could be what's coming next from the prosecution?
Absolutely. These are terrible facts. We see cases all the time where people treat pets and animals in this manner and receive harsh sentences. To treat your own child like this, clearly, if you're a prosecutor, you have to consider whether the death penalty is the appropriate mechanism, the appropriate punishment.
She caused death in her child, so she should reciprocate, but she should get the same thing. I mean, is it humanistic to do? No, but she caused the innocent life of her blood. Because she wanted to go on vacation?
Ultimate punishment. Because this was a torture. This was heinous. It was atrocious and cruel. It actually fits the aggravating factors that the state would have to prove to achieve a sentence of death. So, if I'm the defense, you have to deep dive this person from childhood forward to see how this mother morphed into a monster. But if I am that prosecution's office, I am having meetings right now, making a determination whether I file that notice.
Most definitely, Greg. And, you know, I wonder, depending on whether they file the notice, maybe that may force a plea if she did what the state of Ohio says.
She don't deserve a plea deal.
That she did. This is just a dreadful case, as you both know, and we're going to continue following it.
I love that you can already see the tears. Like, you don't deserve tears. You don't deserve to cry. What about the little infant that you destroyed and mutilated and neglected, and you think you deserve to cry? Life.
Health versus Kristel Candelario. That's you, Miss Candelario.
And I pray also that one day I can be reunited with Amaya, who is our only hope.
2 to 8 years and or a $15,000 fine. On count 1, aggravated murder. I'm going to sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole for a sentencing hearing. Ms. Candelaria, on February the 22nd.
No estoy tratando
Starvation.
de justificar mis actos.
I am not trying
Hydration.
to justify my actions.
Pero
She didn't look like she cared. So I'm guessing this is the picture of her on vacation. Like, I don't even want to watch any more of this.
Your Honor, good morning.
Why is she crying? I mean, I'm not trying to be a heinous person, but it pisses me off that she's crying because she knows she's convicted. Her life is ruined, but she ruined her daughter's life.
Sorry. Hay mucho dolor que tengo con respecto a la pérdida de mi bebé Yailin.
There's so much pain that I have in regards to the loss of my baby, Aileen.
Estoy muy dolida por todo lo que pasó.
I'm extremely hurt about everything that happened.
No estoy tratando de justificar mis actos.
This was not an accident.
I am not trying to justify my actions.
Pero nadie sabe cuánto yo estaba sufriendo.
But nobody knew how much I was suffering
Y por lo que estaba pasando.
and what I was going through.
So look for help, but yet you went on a 10-day vacation, snapping selfies and bikini shots of yourself while your infant was starving and hydrated.
Todos los días le pido perdón a Dios y a mi hija, Yailin.
Every day I ask forgiveness from God and from my daughter, Jaylee.
Or you should never have to do that. Took care of her.
Soy una persona creyente de Dios.
I'm a person who believes in God.
No,
Y
I'm not
reconozco
gonna say
hoy que todos y todas, muchas ocasiones, somos tentados por el enemigo.
And I recognize today that all of us are sometimes subject to the enemy.
Dios y mi hija me han perdonado.
God and my daughter have forgiven me.
Quisiera pedir perdón también a mi hija Amaya,
I would also like to ask Amaya, my daughter Amaya, for forgiveness.
She had
y a
another
mis
daughter?
padres.
And I'd like to ask my parents for forgiveness.
Why didn't she leave her child with her parents?
No se imaginan cuánto yo era unida a mi hija Yailin y Amaya.
One can't imagine how close I was to my daughters, Jaylene and Amaya,
Y cuánto nos amábamos
Where was the other baby?
todas.
and how much we all loved one another.
Extraño mucho a mis hijas.
I miss my daughters very much.
Then why did you leave for 10 days?
Hoy nada puede devolverme a Maya, a Yailin, perdón.
Now, I know that nothing can bring Jaylene back.
Y no pasa un día que no deje de pensar en ella.
And not a day goes by when I do not think of her.
Le pido a Dios que algún día pueda volverla a ver
I pray to God that one day I will see her again.
y poder retornar junto con Amaya, que es nuestra única esperanza el día de hoy.
And I pray also that one day I can be reunited with Amaya, who is our only hope right now.
Thank you, Susan. Your honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Like, were we watching the same thing? This woman has literally I mean, I can't say my judgment because, again, my faith tells me that thou shalt not commit murder. I'm not going to push anything on you guys when it comes to faith, but we're also led to believe that we need to forgive. But where does that line drop when you murder your innocent child that God gave you, this beautiful soul, this person, this little girl, and you go on vacation and became the nasty evilness that we strive to stay away from? I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are down below. Do you think this is justice? I think life in prison is not justice. She's going to be able to eat. She's going to be able to probably see her parents. She's probably going to be able to see relatives, possibly. She's going to get square meals a day, free insurance, free health care, probably go to college because she's going to be that bored and have friends in prison. It's this woman should have got the death penalty. I'm pro death penalty when the crime fits, or how do I say it? What you have done to said person, murder, an eye for an eye. If you are a pedophile and take the innocence away from a child, that's why people keep doing this. Is because they're like, I'll just get life. I'll be able to eat in prison. I don't have to pay bills. I don't have to do that. Like, that's why they keep doing this. Or it's a mental... It may be that. But if she was having problems, why isn't there places that she can seek to look for? If she had issues, should there be things that she should have been able to... CPI or DHS or... Somebody could have taken the child and saved her. And it angers me because this little girl had the whole life. She could have lived till 99. And yet she died at 16 months because her mom wanted to go to vacation. I just want to know if you guys think this is justice. She has been convicted and is sentenced to life in prison without parole, which thankfully she'll never see freedom, but she still has life in her. She could live another 50 years. She's 30 something. She could live another 50 to 60 years. It's not like an accident. I don't take her as sorry that her daughter has forgiven her. It's not like you had a car accident and the guy that was in there was drunk and he hit you guys. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But I'm just going to keep rambling on and how upset and angry I am. So please comment your guys' thoughts down below of the justice. If this was justice, do you think she should have got the death penalty? What do you guys partake on this? Please hit the like button for the justice of this little baby girl. And we'll see you guys in the next one. So please take care, keep it safe, and as always, keep nerding on and love your family and friends. And we'll see you guys next time.